Hey, YouTube, not so Slim Jim. Sorry, I'm doing a hotel video. Unfortunately, I'm out of state right now for the end of Thanksgiving, visiting some in-laws. So yeah, I know the beard's crazy, and I don't have the usual setup. Anyways, I wanted to bring an update on what's going on in the Daniel Perry case. I know I haven't had an update in a while. Things have been going kind of slow, and some people have been asking about what's going on. So there's actually been some craziness going on with this case. Now, the case itself hasn't really moved forward. There's been a lot of motions going back and forth. Daniel Perry's attorney has actually put a motion to dismiss the case with prejudice, and of course they denied it because they're not going to do it. It's Austin. But there's been a lot of interesting developments with Austin Police Department. See, the original detective, Detectivefugit, who's the one who initially investigated the incident when it happened. He's the one that, after collecting all the evidence, watching the videos, talking with the chief of police and everything going on, because it was a high-profile case in Austin, decided that it was a case of self-defense, and they didn't press charges against Sergeant Perry. Well, obviously later on, when we got a new DA in who's an actual member of the Austin Socialist Party, he decided, because he was majorly funded through George Soros, Everytown for gun safety and all the big ones, that he has to prosecute a gun case. They didn't have any new gun cases, so they just dug up the most recent high profile one they had, and they brought this back to life during a grand jury. Now, when Detectivefugit was brought in to testify in front of the grand jury to bring charges against Sergeant Perry, he was told there's certain things that he can't talk about, basically tampering with evidence, because that's when you tell someone, hey, you can't talk about these specific things, you can only talk about these, you can't talk about self-defense, you can't talk about exactly what you did in your investigation, that is in fact tampering. So Detectivefugit ended up doing a complaint with another judge saying, hey, what they did is illegal. It's actually a felony. You can't tamper with evidence. I made a complaint against the DA, but the judge said, no, I'm going to let it be, whatever. If he's not guilty, then he'll found not guilty in trial. We're going to let it go through, kind of like the whole Rittenhouse. We're just going to throw the charges. If he's not guilty, then he's not guilty. So this is where it gets kind of interesting. So at this point, Detectivefugit ended up getting some pretty major backlash. In fact, he had quite a few people in the department telling him that he's going to have internal affair review, that they're going to put him on desk duty, that they're going to go after him because he actually talked to the defense and said, hey, here's what happened, here's what's going on, here's what I found. And I guess in Austin, the police department says it's against their policy for the department for any officer, detective, or anyone to talk to a defense without going through their chain of command first. And he figured, well, it's this is the guy, this is his trial. He's being charged, so I should be able to present him with the evidence. Well, they decided otherwise. So he ended up getting into a quite large shouting match. And I guess the entire second floor of their entire violent crimes division overheard him and people from internal affairs going at it. So finally, after they threatened him with internal affairs, they ended up saying, no, we're not going to do it. We're just going to give you a warning this time. But because of this entire incident, the assistant chief of police, Gerardo, ended up having to basically get an early release. He had to resign early. So the second highest person in Austin Police Department has now been forced to resign because of all the corruption going on between the district attorney for Travis County and the corruption going on inside the police department in Austin Police Department. And it's really quite crazy seeing which officers are kind of towing the line going, hey, we're not going to play that game, and the ones that are going, hey, we're going to toe the line with the DA. So we're going to see a lot of friction going on. We're going to see which cops are good cops, which cops are bad cops. And I guess a lot of Austin PD are actually get behind Sergeant Perry, and I like that. But I don't know how many or who or how high up it goes. But I guess a lot of people are getting threatened with internal affairs investigations if they even talk to anyone or talk to the defense about Sergeant Perry's arrest or anything that happens. So it's going to be some interesting developments probably over the next few months. Once we get more information about when the trial is going to be, what hearings are going to be coming out, once we actually start getting that, I'll let you know. Till then, if you get any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know.